So let's make a right now. Go all the way down. Insert this key. And there you go. All the way up there. I guess this Bowser himself come down here and use that key. Must have called on a locksmith, had that put in. Can't imagine Princess had that. But anyway, down here in the basement you'll find this rabbit, and catching it will earn us a star. So best way to do this in my experience is to lead him over here, coming from the right at this point to chase him to the left side, and then just do a running dive at him. Just like that when he's turning around. And that will earn us a star. And as we head into the next area from here, Fluff, I'm told you have a Fluff fact about this rabbit?
This rabbit who conjures up shades of Alice in Wonderland with its tardy behavior is named Mips, a name which is derived from the acronym of the microprocessor of the Nintendo 64, or specifically, the microprocessor's interlocked pipeline states, or MIPS for short. This name for the rabbit makes sense when you consider that he was exclusively created during the very early stages of the game for helping with the development of the character and camera movement systems. During this time, developers only had two characters for that purpose, Mario and Mips. While the rabbit was only initially intended to exist for testing purposes, the developers grew a fondness for the furry creature and decided to put him in the game.
Love that. Thank you very much, Fluff. Never knew any of that when I was a kid, so nice to learn about that all these years later. But yes, from that area where we captured Mips, temporarily, we could empty out the castle moat, and then enter the blue switch area right here. And there are, once again, similar to the red switch area, there are 8 red coins to be had before we go ahead and hit that switch. So 4 of those are from those platforms that we dropped on just a second ago. The other 4 are from here. You got 1 at the top. Be careful once these platforms get to the height, as they will very quickly turn and kind of flip you off their side and outside of the area. So right there, that was taking it very close. If you want to do like 1 jump and then a double jump right behind it, then you can go ahead and do that to give yourself a little extra lift, so you don't have to make it quite as dramatic as we did there. But hit that blue switch, and we will now have access to all of the blue blocks, which we're going to use to actually get this next star. Blaze, what can you tell us about the blue blocks?
The blue blocks are now filled in and accessible in some worlds, which contain the Vanish cap. This is a hat which makes you temporarily invincible and allows you to go through certain walls.
Yes, in this case, invincible and invisible. But yeah, enemies cannot hurt you when you have this hat going. You can't do damage to them, but you will not take any damage yourself as we head back inside to the basement area. Ultimately to the next area here in Super Mario 64. Note that we did that dive prematurely. We did it like at the top so that the fall damage still hurt us in that case. To negate the fall damage, you would have to go into that dive at the last second. But one toad you definitely want to talk to is right outside of this metallic oozy looking pool here in the basement. And this is pretty much the easiest star that we will find here in Super Mario 64 just by talking to Toad. I'm sure some Toad critics would say it's not easy. They don't like talking to Toad, but we have no problems with Toad here on Video Games 101. But once you get this star, the castle star, one of the secret stars, we're going to head into this strange metallic liquid here. Swimming beast in the cavern. Maybe it's like very oily water, I don't know, but it kind of has the same consistency as Metal Mario, which we'll talk about very shortly, actually. This is the rare, I mean, there's only 3, but this is the rare instance of a Switch Palace, if you will, which is located actually within another world. So we'll get that final block filled in here, the green ones. As we go all the way down here, don't worry about taking damage. You got some water, which means you can top off your health as necessary by way of just breathing that air. And where is that swimming creature? I don't know how they managed to hide it. It's so massive, but here's Nessie. And just, if If you want to jump on Nessie's head, just give her a nice little ground pound on her back to make her head go down. In this case, we just want to go up and get that star. Note that you can still kind of control where she goes from her back, but you can also do it from her head. Seems like she's about to tell you as much, but not the case. So just do a long jump off of her head, grab yourself the first star. Not too taxing. Just swimming beast in the cavern. We'll actually need Nessie again to access the aforementioned green Switch Palace area. Right now we need to grab ourselves 8 more red coins, always our least favorite outside of the 100 coins. Once again, they are happily self-contained in this world, but maybe less happily is the method to collecting them. We need to take this floating platform that's at the top here. Just press on one of the arrows and the platform will move in that direction until it hits something, yeah, okay. I'm gonna try to go left there so we can, it's best to try to get the arrow aligned with the box so that you can hit it while you're moving toward it, as in that case. Mind these little bars here too that you need to hop over. It's part of the structural support of this area. But once again, 4 on the bottom layer right here, and this will smack up against it, so you can just hop off here. And I believe the platform will reset if you stay off of it long enough. So if you accidentally kind of send it into an otherwise inaccessible area and then fall off of it, then you can just go ahead and find it where it initially spawned at. In this case, we're gonna long jump off of it right here, climb up this pole, and then this has more of a on a track platform. What about you, class? I'm a very impatient gamer. I just absolutely hate when we have to wait for things. I would much rather play loose, play reckless, as I'm sure you've noticed, and some have commented throughout the course of some of these classes. As long as we get the no death run in the end, that's all that matters. Not so much in this game. I think that might be a difficult out, but many of the other games, which I'm somewhat referencing here, mind the bats. But just take this straight to get yourself the last couple of red coins here. And then it'll spawn right down there in the middle of the room. Not too bad. Alright, so this one is a reference to that green Switch Palace, which is kept within the underground cave world here. You can see a star up there. That's not the one we're gunning for at the moment. I do like that one because it's also very easy to get. Just do some wall jumps from right here to get ourselves. Well, there's another one actually that's right to that. Yeah, I don't mind this level in general because a lot of them are quite easy to get. There you go. See, a big fall we would have taken damage on, but just doing that dive at the last second negates it. So once again, we need to locate and ride the back of Nessie. In this case, to get up to that platform, which was right in front of us right there, now to our left. So you can do that ground pound to get Nessie to submit. I don't like the way I said that. And do a hard left. Follows your directions basically wherever you're pointing. Careful not to fall off. Just ride it right over here. And this will take us to, on the other side of this, one of these little miniature lakes similar to the one we used to access this area in the first place. This is the Metal Cap Switch course right here. And we're going to be grabbing 8 red coins while we're here, but note that the Metal Mario, well, we want to use it to get the 8 red coins in part. And to tell us why that's so important, let's go back to Blaze.
Alright, the green blocks are now filled in and accessible in some worlds which contain the metal cap. A hat which turns you into Metal Mario, making you temporarily invincible and withstand heavy currents underwater, which is necessary to collect some stars. By the way, now that we have all of the caps, you can combine them in some cases when the blocks are close enough, like simultaneously flying around with the wing cap as Metal Mario. There's no real advantage to this, but it's a thing.
It's a thing and it looks cool. Thank you very much, Blaze. So now this green one is filled in right behind us, and we can take advantage of it right now and enjoy that sweet, sweet Metal Cap Mario music. Oh yeah, use that because otherwise this is a strong current right here that would push you around, but now we can grab the 4 that are surrounding this platform here. And then grab the star over on that side. There we go. So that was not the star, obviously, that they were referring to in this stage, but we do need Metal Cap Mario to access that one. So let's head back in. We don't need it, but it certainly helps. I'll say that. You can grab one right off the top, but it's not necessary. The one we need is a little deeper in the stage. By the way, shout out to Runner for referencing Metalhead Mario. And I think it's Eggshells, that song. I think that's more in the Super Smash Brothers context, but nonetheless, like that Metalhead Mario became a thing after this game in subsequent Nintendo games. By the way, one exception to the invincibility rule for Metalhead Mario, as you can just see, was the fall damage. Also can't get the surface of the water to refill our health here, but not a problem here. We just want to very quickly get here while we have time. There we go. Just in time to hit that switch. And this will open up what was a gated off door a second ago. And now we can pass through and grab the Metalhead Mario Can Move star right here. A couple precarious long jumps right there, but there we go. I think that concept went back a ways. I think I was reading that somewhere that they had intended Metalhead Mario to be a thing for some time, similar to working a horse into Mario, or working Yoshi, better said. Eventually they worked the horse as Epona into Ocarina of Time, as Fluff mentioned. Another game which I think we will get to in time, another just absolute classic. You can make the argument that it's the best Legend of Zelda game ever made. I might join you in that camp, in that conversation, but anyway, we can use the Metalhead Mario here to avoid the toxic poison damage right here, which will slowly eat away at our health. Hitting that switch opens up a number of, or creates a number of those blue coins, which are very helpful in grabbing the 100 coins here in Hazy Maze Cave. Just do a double jump right here at this little ledge. But take this elevator right here up. And then we saw it earlier behind that gate. You might be thinking we need a blue cap to reach this one, but nope, just coming in from the back. And there we go. Through the Hazy Maze, the Toxic Maze. Well, something about Hazy Maze Cave, the name of this stage, reminds me of Donkey Kong Country. Sounds like a name they would have come up with. Another class we need to do, another game we need to do a class on, the Amazing Emergency Exit. So now, 2 relatively quick ones to pick up here. The last one certainly so, but to get this one, come back into the red coin room, hang a hard left. As soon as you pop in, I'm going to drop back down into the toxic area. Hopefully this isn't having any lasting effects on Mario. Hopefully, turning his entire body and clothing to metal doesn't have any lasting effects on Mario, but might have seen that little alcove right there. You just do a double jump or a backwards jump right there, but ride this elevator up. And in this area, you need to be in the right spot to grab onto the wire area above your head. Make sure you're out far enough, so this initial area you can't climb on. But if you do a double jump in the right area, sort of at the very edge of this platform, that's where he can actually grab on. It's a little misleading, considering it all looks exactly the same, but I don't know, this area is a little extra sticky. But we're going to take this and climb Ninja Warrior style, American Gladiator style, American Ninja Warrior style if you prefer, over to this star and just fall right into it. And that just leaves us with my personal favorite star to find here in the Hazy Maze Cave. Watch for falling rocks. Referenced this one earlier. Just have to do a bit of wall jumping, wall kicks to get yourself up there. Make sure you got some momentum. It's very easy to fall and slide down into that central pit, which is just death essentially. But right here, just do a couple wall kicks. Star right here, easy as. That's my kind of star class right there. What's not my kind of star is the one we have to get right now for 100 coins. There are 139 coins to be found in the Hazy Maze Cave, so while we're grabbing our 100, let's go back to Fluff for another Fluff fact about Super Mario 64.
The floating Mario Head minigame on the title screen was an asset from a prototype of a game called Mario Paint 3D, which is the spiritual sequel to Mario Paint for the SNES. Mario Paint 3D was never released, but it purportedly went on to become Mario Artist Paint Studio for the Nintendo 64 DD, an attachable magnetic floppy disk drive peripheral for the Nintendo 64, which was exclusive to Japan. The Dynamic Drive, or DD for short, was the first writable bulk data storage device for a gaming console and allowed for internet connectivity through a dedicated online service named RandNet for online gaming, media sharing, and e-commerce. Only 10 discs were released, with 4 of these being related to the Mario Artist series before the peripheral was discontinued in early 2001. The long sideline peripheral faced a number of hurdles and was ultimately deemed a commercial failure a little over a year after release, with the 64 DD only selling roughly 15,000 units before it was discontinued, and with that, plans for a Western release were scrapped.
How about that? Never realized that. Thank you very much, Fluff. Not even sure if I've heard of the 64 DD ahead of this class, obviously, for obvious reasons. Never made it to the States, but that's interesting. That's something that definitely a Nintendo devotee of the mid-90s like myself would have tried to figure out how I was going to make the money to shell out for that. I definitely would have been on top of that, but there you go. And Nintendo, never letting anything go to waste, ultimately making full use of that. Yeah, not doing myself any favors by saving one on a platform for last, but thankfully this one moves slowly enough that we can grab it without issue. So now we're going to go back, now that we have all of the caps, and just collect those couple ones that we missed. I know there's one in Jolly Roger Bay, there's one in Big Boo's Haunt. So let's start with Jolly Roger Bay right now. The Metal Mario will help for sinking down to the bottom and withstanding the push of kind of an undersea current or an outlet of some sort. I'm not sure. There's a star there. We want it. We're going to grab it now that we have access to Metal Mario. Any excuse to hear this nice music again through the jet stream. That's what it is. So there's a Metal Mario right at the start you can grab, but the one that we want, which is going to last us long enough, is right over here. Yeah, the draw distance, for those of you who have played Minecraft, you know the number of blocks. It's not very good in this game. That's why you can have coins basically sitting relatively close right in front of your face, and you can still miss them unless you're right up on them. And that was sort of my issue with missing the 100 coins here in Jolly Roger Bay, since this does have the smallest number, but just enough time as that metal cap is wearing off to jump up and grab that star. But now we have successfully swept Jolly Roger Bay. Now we're going to head back to Big Boo's haunt. Make use of that invisible cap. Vanish cap. To grab that final star, which we missed here. Eye to eye in the secret room. So to get this one, we're going to head upstairs, go all the way to the right. And this one is a little tricky with the timing, so you can see that blue block right outside of this door. We're going to grab this, and as quickly as possible, we need to get back upstairs to that. Probably saw when we were passing through to get to Big Boo, who was outside that last time. As quickly as possible, try to make that jump right there, and just round the corner right there for that blue wall. Pass right through, and now just gotta make some circles around Mr. I. Yes, that is his name. That's as it appears on his driver's license. That's Mr. and then the letter I, by the way. It's cute. So grab that star. Looking good. 45 plus the ones we would have already gotten this far into the game. Say, I guess, an extra 6. So now we're going to head back inside, back downstairs to the basement, now that we know that we've tied up any remaining loose ends. And we can take on the next world here in the basement. One of my favorites for knocking out stars very quickly. This is Lethal Lava Land. As you can tell, a lot of lava. Don't be a pushover. Yeah, this might be my favorite level just in terms of how easy it is to pick up stars. Because the world itself is not that big compared to many of the others. Note that if you hit the lava, you take 3 damage. But Gary tips on the Big Bully.
Boss beaters. Alright, we're gonna play Matador for a bit here with the Big Bully. Get to the edge of the platform. When he charges at you, do a jump back, kind of fading into the platform. And then once he's underneath you, just kind of push back towards him. As you come back down to the ground, you'll knock him into the lava. Battle over.
Yeah, such a satisfying first star. And we get to do that again, I believe, with multiple Big Bullies, but the strategy is exactly the same as you would imagine. This also has my favorite, bar none, red coin star, which we'll talk about once we get to it. Note the wing cap right here, for what it's worth. Makes getting around a little bit easier. Just mind that without the cannon, you're going to be a little low to the ground. This is not going to last you very long. You can see why this is my favorite of the red coins. We'll come back to that in just a second, but ultimately we want to go to sort of the northeastern part of Lethal Lava Land. So if you want to think of the top right from the start as being the northeast, we're going to take out the bullies over there and launch ourselves. Once again, you'll find this Big Bully has respawned here, but no need to fight him. He's not who our beef is with. We go over to this far platform over here. Knock these 3 guys into the lava. Same strategy as you use on the big guy. Just let them come to you, do a shallow jump, and then if you happen to miss them with the jump coming down, you just go give them a punch in the back of the head. Just send them off the edge of that platform, and the big boy comes in. And then same idea, we can even use the lava, come back down to knock him in, or we can just do that works too. Another very easy to pick up star here in Lethal Lava Land. The wing cap certainly helps for getting around as well. There's one on the far east side of the map, so now we get to do the 8 red coins. Let's enjoy, class. It'll never be this easy again. I guarantee it. They're just all right there. Just note the slide puzzle. You can only move with an adjacent square, and they start to shake and rattle before they move as well, so just something to keep in mind. So you might want to grab all the ones that are far away from that disappearing portion of the puzzle. Thankfully, we don't have to actually complete a slide puzzle because I am famously poor at those, as has been evidenced time and time again on our sister channel, Let's Play with Brigands, and the many adventure games which I play over there. Red Hot Log Roll, another dirt simple one. If you want to grab yourself the... a little shallow there. A little short. You want to grab yourself the wing cap, you can just literally fly over there. And mistook the extra height I had from that second jump as being... or that first jump as being enough to launch myself into the air. Not the case, so we're just going to fly down and around. Give ourselves a little more lift. Restart it right here. You don't even need to ride the log in this case if you want to. It's kind of fun, but we're gonna take the hacky route right here and just fly straight into that star. Work smarter, right? So very simple. So the last two things slow down a little bit as we need to go into the volcano, but I kind of appreciate that. It's kind of like a second world within this first world. Probably accounts for why the size of the world is comparatively smaller than most of the others in this game. All of the others, probably, strictly speaking. The next one, the Shifting Sandland, is very similar in that regard. We have a pyramid to enter instead of a volcano, so the overworld outside of that is a little bit smaller. Mind this, that comes down and doesn't really work as a platform in my experience. I just like to do the double jump right there. I love the colors here in the volcano, I have to say. It's a nice palette. This, I guess, is meant to be the natural rocky floor. Lots of igneous rocks formed here, but I don't know. It's a cool tiling pattern, if you want to think of it in those terms. So here, this is where the camera work kind of is not great. If you're at the very top and you line it just right, you can actually make that jump from that pole instead of having to get to any of the two closer ones. But so that's sort of what I recommend. Just have to make sure you're at that exact same angle. But we have our 50th star. How about that? They're talking about places far away that we have not even sniffed yet. We are so far ahead in the star count. I'm sure I mentioned this before, but you only need 70 to complete the game, so yeah, not too difficult to beat this game in record time. Record being a relative term, I suppose, but very quickly if you want, if you're just going for that minimum 70 stars right there. There's actually some other hacks which you can do to beat the game even faster by, as I said, hacking the game, cheating the game essentially, but Fluff will talk about that a little bit later. Right now, we're going back into the volcano for the final of the main stars of Lethal Lava Land. This time, we're making a left once we drop inside. I always thought the textures on that lava dropping down there was really cool. Again, in 1996, if you played this for the first time, it blew your mind, class. That's all I can say. As a child of the 90s, I was very much impressed. Alright, so be careful with these final jumps. They're more dangerous than they look. But grab that for number 51. And we're going to head back in now and get the coin star for Lethal Lava Land. The number is 133, so getting the 100 shouldn't be too difficult, so follow along as we do that. And let's get Fluff to tell us a bit more about Super Mario 64.
Many think of Super Mario 64 as the first 3D platformer, but according to the Guinness Book of World Records, that distinction actually belongs to Alpha Waves, the first true, if not comparatively much simpler 3D platformer, which was released 6 years prior in 1990 for the Atari ST, Amiga, and DOS computer systems by developer Infogrames, who are best known for their early 3D horror series Alone in the Dark.
Thank you, Fluff. Actually just did my first playthrough ever, my first completion of Alone in the Dark in my life over on Let's Play with Brigands. It's one of those games where you can see how it was so influential, but at the same time, you can acknowledge that subsequent games did it better. It paved the way, but yeah, it was a little rough, but still an enjoyable experience. Similar to another game which we did a recent class on here, on Video Games 101 in the original Dragon Warrior / Dragon Quest. Established a lot of things in the genre, but yeah, subsequent entries, other games definitely did it a bit better. Alright, so once we hit 50 stars, Mips will reappear here in the basement. Just embarrass ourselves in front of Toad, that's alright. I think that's difficult to do, actually. We, referencing back, it's the same strategy, by the way. Trap him in this corner. And if you don't get him the first time, just reload, do it again. But yeah, back to our Super C walkthrough that we did here on Video Games 101, where we had a surprise visit from Surprise TA Toad in that game. But yeah, if you check that out, you'll know what I'm referring to right there. So let's just force him back into that corner once again. Take the inside corner on this turn to just force him in, and there we go. Gotta figure he's gonna make that loop and go more to the right when he was cheating to the left there. And at 50 stars, when he appears once again, if you catch him this time, he's a little bit faster this time, which is why the corner trick is very important in this dead end here for catching him the second time. But there's another one of the Castle secret stars as we enter Shifting Sandland for the first time. Note that those hopping boxes, if you pick one up, it'll do a triple jump in which you can't break free of that. So if you're not careful, depending on which direction you pick it up, it's going to start jumping in that direction. You could easily send yourself off the edge of the level, which is instant death when it comes to the sand just getting sucked up in there. So we gotta get the star from the talons of the bird right here. You can stand on one of these pillars, just kind of wait for him to come to you. And in that case, it kind of worked out. I'm gonna say it's gonna be a little dangerous relying on the lift that we got from that shy guy right there. I'm gonna be very careful because a lot of the suspect looking sand here in Shifting Sandland is just that, it will kill you. So be very careful on the pyramid here. Anything that's at the angle will cause you to slide down quite quickly and into that instant death sand. So probably the most gruesome death too is Mario just gets sucked under and sand fills his lungs, and it's just a bad time. But anyway, got the burst star, Talons of the big bird. So now the bird will be here for subsequent stars. It just will be after snatching the hat off of our heads, so just keep that in mind. Fluff is going to talk about that actually once we get to the 100 coin star here in Shifting Sandland. But first things first, this star is very easy to get if you're efficient with your wing cap. So as soon as you do that triple jump off the top right there, head straight for this little alcove and you'll have just enough lift. Be careful about the knockback when you hit the side of the pyramid right there, but you can grab that. We had an audience that time as that shy guy was looking on. Another one of my favorite stars in that it's incredibly quick and easy to pick up. Same can't be said for inside the ancient pyramid, so this time we actually, as the title suggests, we need to head inside the pyramid. I always prefer to do the triple jump, as you can see right here, to get the wing cap. Makes getting around here a little safer, not having to worry quite as much about that deadly sand right there. And then once you have flight, just head straight into the pyramid and slide right on down in there. And this one's going to be at the top, so we're going to take a right from the start. We can catch a ride on top of this swamp right here. If you have enough lift in your jump, that double jump right there. Yeah, this is very much like the lava land, which we just came from, which I likened it to because it has, the outside world not that large compared to some of the others, but then you have this world within the world here. Last time it was the volcano. You can just hop over this, or you can hide in this little alcove right here. Just simple double jump and just diving over is a safe way to clear over that. Hard if you need some health at this point, but yeah, health usually not the reason which you might lose a life here in Super Mario 64. It's the many pits. It's the deadly sand which sucks you under, and this and that. Plenty of ways to die, class. Always got to be careful when you're doing that handstand with Mario. He likes to show off. Once again, we can climb on top here, but just be very careful with regards to the camera, like I was not right there. Almost want to do the next star, or one of the next stars, and finding the secrets of the pyramid. But we'll do that when we get to it. We are going in order here, so just trying to get to the top of the pyramid here. You don't have to hug the wall using that mechanic right there. It's wide enough that you can run full speed as long as you're careful. You can see there's enough lift with that thwomp right there. We were so close too, but there we go. Yeah, you can run underneath that thwomp right there. That cubicle thwomp. So that one took quite a bit more time than just grabbing the wing cap and flying to the top of the pyramid. So this is the stand tall on the 4 pyramids. This might be the most dangerous out of all of them. Have to stand on each of the pillars, which are surrounded by the death sand, and we have a boss to contend with at the end. Here, the wing cap is a necessity, given the placement of some of these pillars with relation to the deadly sand. So I'm going to touch down on each of these. So make it a point to keep track of the ones which you've already stepped on. I'm pretty bad at that myself, actually. I could stand to take my own advice, but be very careful here with how those localized tornadoes, where they might fling you. You can just do a long jump from off of that to get back to the sand in front of the pyramid, and then get to this one relatively easily. And then climb up this one here. And once you've done your 4th one, just stepping on each of them. Top of the pyramid will now come off. And probably safer if you just want to go back to where we initially got that first wing cap and try to fly from the top right there. But if we want to actually climb the pyramid, you'll see the ledges get narrower and narrower, especially on that last one, which we're skipping altogether. Just doing a flip there. But riding this all the way down. Will lead us to the aforementioned boss. So with tips on this one, here's Gary.
Boss beater. Great Eyerok. 3 hits is the magic number for each of Eyerok's hands. Stay away from the edge. Those hands like to push you in. If you do start to get pushed, make sure you're ready to react and jump out of the way before it knocks you off of the edge. Otherwise, just dodge the one that's going for you. Do 3 hits on the other one, and then when it's just down to 1, just go ahead and hit him when the eye is open to take him down. Otherwise, just dodge. Make sure you don't get knocked off the side.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, I like this boss battle. Something different. Nintendo's always been pretty good with their bosses. This almost has a Ocarina of Time boss feel. Maybe the kind of like a miniature version of Bongo Bongo, if you remember that boss. Yeah, jump kick is a little faster to get off in my experience, so. But both work equally well. Punch or a jump kick right there. Yeah, they make you work for this one. It's a huge range of effort required between the easiest to get and most difficult or frustrating to get stars in this game. And now, unfortunately, we're following this one up with another classically frustrating one. The 8 red coins, free flying, there's a hint right there. The first one is just behind you at the start. Be very careful once you get to it. As you can see, it's basically on a curve of its own, so just grab it and then be careful when you turn around that you don't fall off the edge right there. And this is probably a mistake, but I can't help myself. So rare when we get a Koopa shell in this game, so I'm going to use one to try to get some of these red coins without... As soon as you hit one of these walls, it'll be destroyed underneath your feet. Well, that's probably for the best. Alright, can you, Oh, and he took our hat. Again, Fluff's going to be talking about that in just a moment, so we can get our hat back by going to the top of one of these pillars, and the bird will just kind of circle around you. It'll come over to you and just circle around you to taunt you, which I kind of respect, to be honest. So when we don't have our hat, it's kind of like a Samson situation with his hair. When he gets it cut, it's the source of his power. Mario takes twice the damage with every hit, so we do want to get that hat back sooner than later. It's not just a major part of Mario's style, what makes him an icon, but helping to keep him alive as well. It's a special hat, I have to say. It's number 3. So the cannon which we unlocked is just over here, and I don't recommend making that jump, or at least doing it with that limited amount of range right there as we did to get over here, but playing loose is what got us here to this point, so I'm not going to abandon. It's very much our style here on Video Games 101. We've been criticized for it over the years now and then, but man, just missed it. Coming in a little hot when we have the cannon shot, admittedly. It takes a little bit before we slow down and we can actually have a bit more control over our movement here. You also find that if you go down and then pull back up, then you'll get a little boost of speed as well, which makes it more difficult to navigate. So we're just gonna launch from the ground here and hope that we have enough lift. We do not, unless we're immediately directly underneath of this one. So unfortunately we do need to go back to the cannon over here, and flying is the safest way to get over here. Might want to re-up your wing cap if you've had it for as long as we have at this point. Only lasts for a minute or so after all. Just calm down, Mario. Calm down. Yeah, it's extremely difficult. We're putting the bird to shame with our movements here. Our speed as well. There we go. Yeah, this is a frustrating one to pick up just because, let's see if we have enough lift here to get this one. Yeah, we should be good. Now I'm trying to decide if we just need to head back to the cannon. Yeah, I think so. Tried to get that little lift right there, but not taking it again. Not till Fluff shows us something. Alright, finally, and the last one, easiest to get, it's just in this crate right here, underneath the wing cap, and incidentally, where we need to pick up our red coin star. So not a bad idea to save that one for last. And now I just need a triple jump to get back up there. Can't corner that well, alright. Another red coin knocked out. One of my least favorites. So now all that's left is the secret of the pyramid, which we kind of teased earlier, the pyramid puzzle specifically. To get this one, we need to head back inside the pyramid, as you would expect. So once again, we're just going to grab ourselves the wing cap and make a beeline for the entrance. And this time we just need to stand in, I believe it's 5 specific spots inside the pyramid, and you'll know if you stepped in the correct one, as a little number will pop up and you'll get that very pleasing sound effect, which we heard earlier. By the way, you'll get squished if you're in the back side of that. It won't kill you or anything, just gives Mario a Looney Tunes-esque type situation, but alright, so most of it is in the sand. It's on this little sandy conveyor belt ultimately, so we're just going to come in from the top and ride it down essentially. So going back all the way, almost as if we were picking up that first star which we got inside the pyramid here. By the way, fun fact, just to kind of debunk a myth, something I learned somewhat recently. I'm embarrassed to say somewhat recently, but again, this is a class for video games, not historical facts about Egypt, but slaves did not construct the pyramid. It was actually made by well-respected paid laborers. It's just been a myth that it was created by. Alright, so just drop off there. You can see there's a little lip right there, a little cut away so that you can drop in. And then be careful when you drop down, because getting back up there is a little annoying. You can use the camera to see this is just in the same spot as the first one, only directly beneath it. And now we're gonna ride this. We'll get one in the corner right here. And then we got one last as we wade around in the sand. Thankfully it's not deep enough here that it can kill us. Right there in the corner. And just be careful about picking this up. And there you go. And now it's time to go to the... Ooh. Take my own advice. Time to grab the 100 coin star here in the shifting sand land. There are 136 to pick up, and obviously we'll have to go in the pyramid for some of them, but while we're doing this, I've shared my fact about ancient Egypt. I say half-jokingly. Let's get an actual fact about Super Mario 64, about this stage in particular, with Fluff.
Here in Shifting Sands Land, you can actually get an extra hat. Pick any one of the stars after the first one to feature Klepto, the hat-stealing bird. Side note, Klepto translates from ancient Greek to mean theft. Let Klepto steal your hat, then head over to the wing cap box to get a fresh hat. Then smack the bird to get your hat back. Depending where you pick this up, this might allow you to have an extra hat, but either way you'll now be wielding the wing cap as a melee weapon, which purportedly does twice the damage of a normal punch. Another fun purported glitch is getting your hat stolen, then using the warp by the palm tree will cause the hat to duplicate. Repeatedly doing this without picking up the hat will continue to duplicate the hats, the prestige style, until the game eventually freezes, presumably from too many hats.
Thank you very much, Fluff. Solid movie, by the way, The Prestige. It's kind of weird. One of those instances where you get two movies coming out around the same time, which deal very much in similar things, and one of them is always better, like those two Capote movies, Truman Capote. But in this case, it was The Prestige and The Illusionist. That was the Edward Norton movie, and The Prestige was much better in my opinion. But solid Nolan Brothers picture right there. A lot of twists, a lot of two-timing, excellent performances from both Christian Bale as well as Hugh Jackman. There you go. This is what we do when we when our fluff facts go a little bit short. What's your favorite Nolan Brothers film? Or I say Nolan Brothers, but you know, Chris Nolan usually works with his brother. Batman series, very good. Obviously, his trilogy. Well, the first two movies especially, but I digress. We have one final level, or world here, in the sort of basement of the castle. We can actually take on Bowser before we finish this next world, but so to open this door, we need to have 30 stars, chump change for our game right here at 58. But head on through and enter this cool looking wall of water right here. And we need to knock out this first star before we can, and board Bowser's sub, before access to his next level will be made available to us. And we get this nice Jolly Roger Bay music once again, very calming. Nice change of pace after going around in caverns and lava lands and deserts. Probably thirsty after all that. At the very least, we could go for a swim. So to get this first star, we're just gonna head straight down. This is a very linear path right here. This world is essentially just two large chambers. There's not a lot to Dire Docks, honestly. Just the two big chambers and then the connecting area there. So we need to get on top of Bowser's submarine, which is right over there. And if we hit this switch right here, we can create a bit of a walkway to get up on top of it. Just be careful, you have plenty of time as long as you take your time and don't fall to get on top. And simple as that. And the star is just on the other side. Now we have access to Bowser in the Fire Sea, just by going down that hole right there, which was protected by the water before, but it shifted back. We actually can't fully complete Dire Docks until we take down Bowser, but we can get one more star before we have to do the Fire Sea. So now chests in the current. This is just about hitting these chests in the right sequence. We're going to start with one of these ones, which is farther away. It's next to this shell right here, and this row of coins, or column of coins. And we're going to go to the one which is right next to this opening right here, just to the right. And now, finally, just going counterclockwise here, all the way around to this final chest. And then we just need to grab the one which is right in front of the little underwater cyclone here. We need to be very careful, because if it sucks us in, then we lose a life. Generally, as long as you're not like right in the middle of it, you can swim away. And just be very careful when you're trying to get to this chest, as it will pull you in as you're turning. You can only open it if you're somewhat facing that chest. That's sort of my way of doing it right there. Just be ready to pull out immediately from the suction. And there we go, not too bad. We are now officially halfway to our target, although technically a bit more, because again, and I need to stop saying this, but we are grabbing the 100 coin star for every single one of these worlds throughout the course as we go here. So we've already shown you how to do it, we just haven't reflected that in the actual count right now. And forgive me, class, I wasn't paying attention, but yes, don't enter that world again until we have beaten Bowser in the Fire Sea, as the poles necessary to access the 8 red coins, which would be that next star, will not appear until we have defeated Bowser here in the Fire Sea. So we're going to drop down in this hole now. Grabbing the 8 red coins while we are here, of course, to grab another one of the castle stars. You can wait for that wire boat if you start it, or you can just do some long jumps here to get across a little bit faster. And the lava's not the worst thing in the world. Plenty of coins to get that health back up. Just watch the low ceiling right there. Okay, that was almost the first death. Here's our first of the red coins. Here's the second right there. You can see another one just over there. You can grab the third one in the corner right there, and a 1-up. But to get this next one, we need to trigger that elevator and then drop straight down, essentially. Just with a little momentum going forward to drop into that red coin right there. Halfway home. Now take the elevator up. There's one of the bullies here hanging out. These giant kind of Lego looking bricks that you see now and again. A lot of this just feels very reminiscent of, we mentioned it earlier, referenced Ninja Warrior or American Gladiators, but certainly like one of those Nickelodeon game shows for kids in the early 90s. Legends of the Hidden Temple, or a Double Dare maybe. Don't remember a lot of lava on Double Dare, mind you, but you can see the next red coin right there. Just wait for that opening for the penultimate, and then just the last one to get now. See it very clear right there, just waiting for us on the top as we rise back up here, and they'll drop it just behind us so we can climb on top of that by backtracking a little bit here, and then just doing some wall kicks here at the side, just being careful with the camera, obviously. See, there's a little bit of a lip over there on the right if you want to take that. Otherwise, a long jump will get you there. Another power star. Alright, so let's take on Bowser now. For the second time, let's go back to him once again. Gary.
Boss beaters. Alright, Bowser the second time. Same strategy as the first. He'll move a little bit more quickly. There's a little bit more fire involved this time, but the same basic strategy. Just throw him into one of those mines. If you need to slow it down and line it up a little bit more, do a few more shallow throws, you can do that, but not difficult. One hit will take him down.
Thank you, Gary. Yeah, the only difference really, besides, you know, the platform moving around and more fire this time, I suppose, if you're not careful at least, is the speed at which Bowser does his little circle move. He's very cute. I know he's meant to be menacing, but he's very cutely animated in this particular Mario entry. We're right up by this one, yeah, a little sloppy. A little sloppy here in the Fire Sea. That's right, we'll make Bowser think that he's doing better than he actually is, alright. So no excuses this time. Nice and slow. That's sort of that strategy, aside from throwing him off the ledge, but if you just want to inch him closer and closer to the to one of those tethered bombs there, which, why would you put those up, Bowser? I know they kind of bring the room together, but they only hurt you. It's not like he's throwing us into those, but we have our second of the 3 keys. Again, some nice camera work, courtesy of Leica 2. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and comment on this video, and click subscribe if you haven't already, as this seriously helps me to keep making great content for you.